Jalen Hurts looks real bad right now. He's been under heat and under criticism from A.J. Brown and from Eagles fans. And like, hey, what is Jalen Hurts? Is he a franchise quarterback? Is he in the conversation with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson as someone that's a difference maker at the quarterback position? He's certainly paid like that. He's certainly paid. Let's remove Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, three of the most talented, physically gifted. There's a question, is Jalen Hurts Dak Prescott even at this point? He's certainly paid like he is. But is he? This is year 6. I don't think he's ever thrown more than 23, 24 touchdown passes in a season. Yes, the tush push and his running game adds to his QB play. But is this really a franchise quarterback? And when you've seen the kind of criticism he's received this year, or the beef between he and A.J. Brown and the conversation that's around Jalen Hurts, where I immediately go is, that's why I don't understand the whole fuss around Shedeur Sanders. Because as it relates to quarterback play, it's a long process. The way they've dumbed down the QB position, the way they've made the QB position so easy, it's a long process before you ever figure out what you really have at the quarterback position. Here's Jalen Hurts in year 6. He's won a Super Bowl. But no one really sees him as a franchise quarterback. And heck, if things keep going the way they are in Philadelphia, in Philadelphia, who did they go away from for Nick Foles? Was it Carson Wentz that who did they get rid of and then turn to Nick Foles and he led them to a Super Bowl? Are you sure it was Carson Wentz? Was Carson Wentz? Yeah, it was Carson Wentz. They turned to him, and then Nick Foles led them to a Super Bowl, and they turned away from Nick Foles. Are we sure it was Carson Wentz? We're 1,000% sure. Maybe it was Carson Wentz. All right, so we've seen this before in Philadelphia. Quarterback leads the team to a Super Bowl, and then they eventually move on from him because he's really not the guy. He's just a guy that led him to a Super Bowl. Is that what we have here in Jalen Hurts? And this is why I keep telling people, pipe down about Shedeur Sanders. It's great that he had a good game against the Tennessee Titans. But all of this crown him and, he's been oppressed and he's been mistreated. And I just saw today or yesterday that Kevin Stefanski, Tony Grossi and these guys were asking him questions. Do you regret now not starting Shedeur earlier in the season? As if every franchise opens up every season with a QB battle where the 5th string quarterback is right in there competing for the starting job, and why weren't you giving him first team reps and all this other stuff? The quarterback position in this day and age is one of the biggest mysteries in all of sports. This is so different. Let's go back to, I believe, 1983, the great QB class, and think about Dan Marino coming into the NFL. And Dan Marino immediately lighting the National Football League on fire. Back then, when a quarterback lit the league, a young quarterback lit the league on fire like that at a young age, the degree of difficulty was so hard that you knew that the quarterback had proven something. They're like, oh man, Dan Marino just lit it up like this early in his career. He's going to be something. These guys now can light it up for a season and a half, maybe 2 seasons, and still have not proved that they are big-time franchise quarterbacks. And I get that the argument about Shedeur is silly and sophomoric and it's groupie field and that some people are like anything Shedeur, every time he completes a pass is proof that everybody was wrong and he should have been drafted higher, blah, blah, blah. I get it, that it's a stupid, silly conversation. But I wish people would just like, hey, let's let history be our guide. It's not just Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert last night. This was a field goal marathon last night. This was a bad football game. There was a lot of mediocre quarterback play. It wasn't just Jalen Hurts. Justin Herbert looked mediocre. Some of that had to do with the offensive line. He got sacked 7 times. But this was a bunch of field goals getting kicked because neither quarterback could actually sustain a drive, be consistently accurate enough to get anybody into the end zone. And so Jalen Hurts threw 4 interceptions, and there should have been a 5th. They overturned an interception that, to me, they had no reason to overturn. Said the guy trapped it on the ground. There was no hardcore proof. They called it an interception in real time. There was not clear and obvious evidence that it was an interception. Jalen Hurts could have thrown 5 interceptions last night. The Philadelphia Eagles now have lost 3 straight games. There's a lot of heat, a lot of attention on Jalen Hurts, and there's going to be a lot of questions about what do we actually have here in Jalen Hurts. What we know we have, what I do think has been proven, is he's a legitimate leader. He can handle adversity. He's someone that was built for the kind of stress that Philadelphia and Eagles fans are going to put on him. How do we know this? By the way he handled things at Alabama when he got unseated by Tua Tagovailoa, didn't go off the reservation on the Alabama Crimson Tide, came back in late in that season and saved their season, and then transferred to Oklahoma and had a great run in Oklahoma and then moved to the NFL as a second-round pick. He is mentally built for this. He has real integrity and real leadership skills. The reason why many of us question Shedeur Sanders is because we don't trust what's between the ears. We don't trust what's in his head. We don't know how he's going to deal with adversity. And trust me, there's one thing guaranteed in the National Football League. They've softened it up. They've made it easy to play quarterback. But there is still going to be a test. There's still going to be some adversity. There's still going to be getting banged up and having to play hurt. There's still going to be diva wide receivers on every team that will question the quarterback, question his leadership, question his decision-making. What's going to happen when the spit really hits the fan in Cleveland and you have a Shedeur Sanders who, to me, the thing that separates, because like Jalen Hurts and that level of cute, if Shedeur exceeds expectations, he'll play at the level Jalen Hurts played for several years in the National Football League, and he might lead a team on a postseason run. That's if he exceeds my very limited expectations for him. That's the best Shedeur Sanders could be. I don't know what Justin Herbert is. Certainly nothing that happened last night proved to me what Justin Herbert is. Yes, I know he had surgery on his hand a week ago and he gutted out some things, but he didn't look good. Not to me. Interception. I think he fumbled a couple times. I know he was sacked 7 times. He did take a beating and keep on ticking, but Jalen Hurts proved nothing either. Anybody that watched that game last night, it's like, man, these are 2 mid quarterbacks that Philadelphia and the Los Angeles Chargers have paid a lot of money to. And we're now running around. We're ready to anoint. We're ready to crown Shedeur Sanders. Miss me with any and all of that. No one knows what we have. It's going to remain a mystery for quite some time. Who knows? Who knows what we have in any of these quarterbacks? That's the point I wanted to make coming out of that Monday Night Football game. 22-19 victory for the Chargers. The Eagles, I think, they're still on top in the NFC East. The Chargers remain relevant in the AFC West. They're still a couple of games, if not 3 games, behind the Denver Broncos, who have won 10 straight. Dallas is, maybe nipping at the heels of the Philadelphia Eagles. Neither one of these teams look like contenders to me. And Jalen Hurts going probably, at this point, we can say, going into next year, his job in Philadelphia will be on the line. He won't be able to repeat this season next year. And I know he had only thrown 2 interceptions going into this game, but anybody that's been watching Philadelphia is like, they're not winning these games because of Jalen Hurts. They're not. It's the defense. It's Saquon Barkley. It's, the other little intangible things they're doing that kept them winning. It ain't Jalen Hurts. Same thing going on in LA with the Chargers. And I know they've had a bunch of injuries. I know the offensive line's banged up. Joe Alt didn't play last night, and Justin Herbert got sacked a lot. But anytime I watch Justin Herbert, I like the raw talent, but he just doesn't seem consistent enough to me. All right.